Yes, please. The time and Dear Scout friends, we will now start the afternoon plenary session. Earlier this morning, we had the World Scouting Showcase in a different room. I hope your showcase discussions were informative and productive. We will now have summary reports from each discussion. I would like to ask Joao, please report on the Duty to Guard showcase. Joao, please.
Good afternoon. I'm here to report the results of the discussions being held during the session on duty to God. Apologies if it's not going to be very clear or fluid, but there was not much time to process the information. So the session started by a small introduction on the context and where this issue came from, and some of the initiatives that have been carried in the last 3 years. After that, we opened the floor for opinions and suggestions, which we saw also as a contribution to the proposal, which is in triennial plan to undertake a review of duty to God. So a number of opinions and comments that have been expressed were done as also a contribution to that process. I will try to summarize some of them. So first of all, which was a background information, the fact that this issue can be seen from two different perspectives. One is the constitutional one, and the other one is the educational one. So there is two complementary approaches that we need to take care of. The second message, which was very much underlined throughout the session, was the necessity of clarity. The NSL, or the people that expressed their opinions, asked for clarity from WOSM, from the world level, in a number of things. Clarity in the concepts, what we mean by duty to God, spiritual dimension, religion, and so on. So people felt that this needs clear definition, clear clarification. Also, in terms of timing, how do associations cope within their own process of devising strategies and plans and so on with the definitions that we are going to have after the review? So how does this work together? Clarity also in terms of the review should include how do we approach this issue from when we speak about youth and when we speak about adults. So these two groups need to be addressed as well. And on the other end, in terms of clarity, people also asked that we should maybe start identifying what are the problems exactly with the current situation, both the expression that we have now and what problems does this rise. But also about the process. What have been the practices that we have been having in WOSM, or the exceptions that we have been having? That would be interesting to understand what was the thinking behind it. The third big topic was about how the process should be, how inclusive it should be. So it should be an open process. People are aware that this should not be a right or wrong debate, because this has different nuances, the debate. The debate also should include all, regardless the size of their opinion. They should strive to include as many opinions as possible, include from those who have a faith to the others who don't have. So everybody should be included. In any case, this debate should have its roots on the fundamental question about what do we need young people to experience in this domain. The fourth big topic was about, which is also a sensitive issue for the debate, is the fact that duty to God is one of the fundamentals of Scouting. And some people express the opinion that we are touching one of the fundamentals, and therefore they have concerns about this process. So this is possibly one of the biggest questions that we need to address on the review that we want to undertake. A fifth issue is about it was very much stressed the fact that in any debate we cannot forget that our mission is at the center. That means spiritual development is part of person development, and we should not forget that we start from the mission. What is our purpose here? So the debate and any constitutional or any changes on the rules should be adapted to this fact that we have a mission and should serve that mission. And finally, there was from the in the floor there were a number of organizations, faith organizations, which have consultative status with WASM, which express their willingness to contribute to the debate, to bring a positive contribution to it, and express the fact that religion should be a good ground to create understanding and not to create conflict. And the organizations are very much ready to give their own contribution to this debate. So in short, this was mainly the discussions. I will make this more detailed, and we'll circulate that after the conference if that's the plan. And I think that's about it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Joao. We will give you the questionnaire time later on when we finish the 4 sessions. And next we have Mario Diaz, who will report on the human rights session. Mario Diaz, please come onto the stage.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Hello, conference. Great to be here. Okay. As I said in our session, is Scouts creating a better world. And the better world in which we create is a world in which nobody is left apart. And having this in mind, and also out of our law, Scout law, a Scout is a friend to everybody and a brother to other Scout. We have been discussing the issue of human rights and Scouting. So actually, what we did in our session was first we introduced some background for people to be aware of what kind of things are we discussing. And then we were developing the contents of your document 12, in which you have a summary of the work done by a task force created by the World Scout Committee on human rights issues. This group of individuals, these volunteers, came from as many regions that we have, as many cultural backgrounds as we could try. I have to thank them because they were extremely generous, putting around a table all points of view, all difficulties, and trying to find the common ground that we as Scouts can share in order to step forward. So we did that. In that document, you will have some recommendations that we propose to you. Some are for the new World Scout Committee, some are for the conference. Some of our recommendations are for the NSOs themselves. And then, yes, we do have a proposal for a resolution on human rights. As you know, this is a very controversial subject, and actually we had some, again, debates, which I think is very interesting and important to have. We really think that we are now in a better position than we were at the last Brazil conference when we have the same discussion in a very hot debate about that. So we have been dealing with many different points of view, and there is a very far way ahead. Obviously, we don't agree, but at least we agree that we disagree, and we think that we all share the idea that we should concentrate our efforts in the idea of human rights education. We are an educational movement, and actually there are some issues you cannot solve by raising your hand and voting, but you need to be clear, you need to be aware of what you're doing. So by educating our Scouts, our children, young people about the concept of inclusion, the concept of accepting everybody with different ways of thinking, with handicapped people, people with different beliefs, different race, I think that we will all share that, yes, we all do that in our local groups, which is where real Scouting is. So we had very few time, as you can imagine, for these big topics. The groups, we divided in small groups, and they were discussing about the idea of the concept of human rights, how human rights is affected by the social and cultural and religious backgrounds, and also how human rights relates to the fundamental principles of scouting and how we could progress in the future. I think it was a very, very interesting and learning discussion, and I encourage you to take the opportunity of this World Forum to keep on talking with people from different backgrounds and exchange our points of view. We need first to talk to each other and learn and try to be in the other's position. And that's a very brief summary of what we discussed. Thank you very much to everybody who took part. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria Diaz. The next topic we will hear is a report on global issues from Wahid Labidi and John Naismith. Wahid and John, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I had the pleasure to chair this session on global issues during the showcase, and we had a very constructive and fruitful session. I would like to brief the audience and give you some information to refresh your memory. So, on March 2012, the World Scout Committee discussed extensively the 7 issues of concern raised by Asia-Pacific region. Then the World Scout Committee quickly acknowledged that these were to be considered as global issues facing WUSM and not only as an expression of APR concerns. The 7 issues are: 1 is the representation and voting system. 2nd, operational costs of the entire World Scout Bureau. 3rd, the registrations fees paid. 4th, the youth advisor to the World Scout Committee. 5, the human rights. 6, the staffing of the World Scout Bureau. And 7, the relationship with NSOs. Extensive discussion took place among the World Scout Committee member, and it was agreed on a 7 steps roadmap to address the issue raised. 2nd, the creation of a contact group that carried forward the roadmap, which I will give the floor later to John Naismith to report on. And 3rd, the issue identified were various degrees of complexity and could be addressed by and resolved by different level of authorities and competence. The first level is management. The issue number 6 is staffing and the World Scout Bureau, of the World Scout Bureau. The second level is the World Scout Committee. So we undertook the issue number 2, the operational cost. Issue number 4, the youth advisors to the World Scout Committee. And 5, the human rights. 7, the relationship with NSOs. And we left for the World Scout conference the 2 remaining issues, which is the representation and voting system and registration fees. I would like also to give you a sense on the chronology. In December 2011, we received a letter from APR, from the Asia-Pacific region. On March 2012, the World Scout Committee discussed those issues, and we acknowledged that were, in fact, global issues. On August 2012, we had a meeting in Philippines, few people, and they reviewed the position paper issued by the World Scout Committee in March 2012, and the way how we pursue. On November 2012, there was a meeting in Dhaka. There is some progress, but at that stage, no decision. The issue discussed are the fees, the location, the staffing, and the voting. On February 2013, there is a small group, participants from Europe, from Asia Pacific, and from staff, from World Scout Committee. They have discussed and studied the voting options. They have done great work, but there were no perfect solution. And we decided at the World Scout Committee at that time that it was not the major issue and we can leave it for the conference. On March 2013, there were a discussion regarding the relocation. On September 2013, in Argentina, we decided about the relocation and to process through the consultation through e-voting. I would like, on behalf of the World Scout Committee, to confirm, although the global issue is a controversial subject, but the process was democratic, transparent, and inclusive. I can give you an example for why it's democratic. It was discussed, thoroughly discussed among the World Scout Committee, and we had different views, but at the end we come up with a common view. When we were invited as a steering committee to the European conference in Berlin, we heard some concern. And when we have gone back, we asked the Secretary General to reconsider some of what have been decided and to reconsider those concerns. As a result of that, in Argentina, we decided to go through the e-vote and to consult with NSOs. Transparent. After every steps, the World Scout Committee and the Bureau issued a circular or an information paper in order to inform NSOs. Inclusive. There was a consultation with all the 6 regions and also with NSOs. There were a discussion, informal discussion, formal discussion, and by the end, it's up to the World Scout Committee to decide about issues. I would like now to invite my colleague, John Naismith, to report back about the work concluded by the contact group. Thank you.
Thank you, Wahid. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will comment briefly on 3 issues that really came to the World Scout Committee. These have been mentioned by Wahid, so I'll again be brief. The first was the location, and as Wahid has explained, that has been settled. I don't mean that in a negative way, but that has been settled, and we now have our locations. So the committee that we formed, the subcommittee, really dealt with 2 issues that affect all of us, but that can only be settled at the world level. One was fees, and the second was the voting method. Both of them are complicated. Both of them have many ways, many avenues to look at that are all valid. Very briefly, what was agreed upon in Brazil was that there would be a 9-year freeze on the world fees, subject only to a cost of living increase. And as the Treasurer mentioned yesterday, last year that was 0% in Switzerland, so there will be no increase. This was agreed to in Brazil. The advantage, of course, is that it encourages all our NSOs to accurately report their membership. And for those NSOs that have to have a serious concern about the viability of fees, when they increase their membership, they don't have to have the concern that they have to pay to increase membership. The second aspect with voting. That too is a very difficult procedure. We're a democratic organization. We have to remember that we are not 6 regions, but we are 162 NSOs. Each NSO has equal representation, but we were aware that there are concerns that the representation may not fairly represent every NSO. What were the options? Do we vote by numbers only? Do we vote by how we pay our fees? We did various mathematical calculations, and in essence, and I have the information if anybody wants it after, in essence, when we figured out different voting methods by how the amount of fees paid and the registration numbers, we came out with basically the same result. Our conclusion was that the voting method should remain as is. Because if we start to change it and look at it, we are probably going to be in a quagmire. So our subcommittee recommended to the World Scout Committee, and the World Scout Committee last September agreed that we would leave the fees as is, subject only to the cost of living increase, and that the voting method would remain as is. That was our conclusion, that was our recommendation. Again, we are available for questions if you have any on it, and we'd be pleased to answer them. Just one more brief aspect. At our meeting this morning, there were 5 questions from the floor. One was on the relocation, and Wahid explained very clearly how the voting was done and how the decision was taken. The second was on fees. There is a concern with some NSOs that their governments restrict the charging of fees for NGOs. If they cannot charge fees, how would they have the financial resources to pay a world fee? It's a concern. We haven't an answer, but we certainly have to take it into account. A third comment was to be less dependent on fees. I think in many ways, the foundation is helping us in that regard, but we have a way to go. Our world membership should not be determined by just how one pays a fee. There is a request to present a WUSM triennial budget to the NSOs, a valid request which will be certainly looked at. And a final comment was on the penetration of our membership. Certainly in some countries, the penetration of youth membership as a proportion of the total youth population is higher than in others. On the other side of that, there are many countries in the world where methods of communication just seriously inhibit that type of penetration. And that is the challenge we face in Scouting. Those were the issues that were discussed there. We had a very good discussion on them, and again, we are open to questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much again, Wahid and John, for your detailed report on very sensitive issues. Finally, we will hear from John May, reporting on transparency in decision-making in WUSM. John, please.
Thank you, Simon. Thank you, Simon. Afternoon conference. Hello, John. First of all, my thanks to David Berg for the work that he has done in helping to prepare both for the session and also the notes that I'm about to provide, and also to other members of staff who have also helped. And thank you to everybody who came to the session this morning, which was lively and thoroughly enjoyable for you. We discussed 5 topics, and they were raised by those that came to the meeting. And those topics were the financial transparency and the relationships between WUSM and the World Scout Foundation, how WUSM appoints its people, the conversation about the location of World Scout Bureau offices, how WUSM accepts its new member organizations, and a little bit of a conversation about the work that may not yet have been completed by the World Scout Committee and how that's communicated and reported. So on each of those, first of all, financial transparency and relationships between WUSM and the World Scout Foundation. You will not be surprised to hear that more clarity was requested in our financial reporting, with the possibility for questions and answers from National Scout organisations instead of one-way reporting. Questions were also raised about the annual grants that are made by the World Scout Foundation to WUSM, including the Messengers of Peace process. So we clarified those processes within the group to the extent that we could, and it was explicitly confirmed that the full project management of Messengers of Peace is handled and overseen within the World Scout Bureau. We then looked a little at the general donor landscape concerning raising money for World Scouting. And we recognized that the situation that the World Scout Foundation now faces is shifting, moving from unrestricted grants given by donors to ones with specific goals and requested impacts. We recognize that that shift is something that is common in most of the not-for-profit world today. It requires a different way of thinking by both boards, both the World Scout Foundation Board and the World Scout Committee, in how to manage those processes, the responsibilities, and the expectations between what are two separate legal entities, the World Scout Foundation and WUSM. And we recognize that this is a piece of work in progress. And no, we haven't got it right yet, but we're getting there. We're getting there. So we then moved on to the appointment of people, and questions were raised about the process that we use for appointing volunteers in World Scouting and also staff in the World Scout Bureau. So we explained both processes with reference to the decision makers, specifically the World Scout Committee and the Secretary General, who is the Chief Executive, of course, of the World Scout Bureau. And specific reference was given to the different types of staff that exist within the World Scout Bureau. We have pro bono staff, we have interns, we have people who are loaned from National Scout organisations, we have interim positions filled by consultants, and we have, in inverted commas, normal salaried staff. I would say that there is no such thing as a normal member of staff. They are all extraordinary. Which, due to their nature, each of these jobs all have specific policies on appointment, and they're followed carefully. The point was made that World Scout Bureau staff recruitments should be as transparent as possible, preferably avoiding recruitments that are open only to a small subset of people or locations. And we said that we would note that and pass that back. Finally, when volunteer and staff appointments are made, it's requested to communicate clearly and swiftly to National Scout organisations, particularly if it's their own personnel who are involved. And again, we noted that perhaps we could do a better job with that. We then moved on to the location of World Scout Bureau offices, and you have already heard from John and from Wahid about some of that that was discussed in another group. Let me tell you that from the point of view of the group looking at transparency, the issue was raised on the appropriateness for the World Scout Committee to take a decision on the location of World Scout Bureau offices, or if this was an issue that should be dealt with at conference level. I gave an explanation about the steps that we'd taken in the relocation process and the view that the World Scout Committee had taken on the matter. I talked about the different interpretations of resolutions that have happened, particularly Resolution 17, 2008 of the Korea Conference, and the balance that we have to make between a political decision and the operational responsibility and accountability of the Chief Executive to appoint staff to locations where he deems it to be appropriate. In general, we noted that the internal communications and opportunities for participation about the process could certainly have been better. And conference, I stand here as somebody completing his 6 years term on the World Scout Committee to say to you, yeah, we could have done better. But I would equally ask each of you, which organisations you work for that are able to manage change in a really nice, linear way with no problems at all. I think we did okay. Let's just move now on to the accepting of new WASM members. The question was raised why some applications for membership are handled very swiftly and others take rather a long time. Well, we clarified that the application for the process for WASM membership is very clearly defined, but we noted that membership is currently based on what one might describe as a territorial principle, which leads, due to geopolitical realities, to sometimes very complex consideration processes. And with reference to the announcement that I made yesterday in plenary, I just want to reaffirm that yesterday I only announced that the World Scout Committee will welcome future membership applications from certain countries, after which the normal application process will be followed as is constitutionally required. The people who decide who will become members of WASM are you, its members. Well, we finished by looking at the question of work unfinished. And the question was raised that certain resolutions of the past triennium haven't been implemented and that very few clarifications have been given as to the reasons for this. I tried to give an answer. I'm not sure it was terribly effective. I kind of spoke about the limitations of time and the need for us to prioritize in our work. That actually there's only so much the World Scout Committee and the World Scout Bureau can handle, both financially, time-wise, and in terms of human resources. And that's really why tomorrow we're spending time looking at a new way of working, so that we don't have a whole set of resolutions that we have to prioritize, some of which may have come from nowhere, and others may be very carefully rehearsed and prepared for, but instead we have a strategy and a work plan to which we're all agreed. But I know it's better, that we can always do better. Reporting has to improve, particularly on perhaps what we haven't been able to achieve. Mea culpa, and we take that away with us. It was a great session. I hope you enjoyed it. I think I did. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, John. May I ask to all of you to thank to all the reporters, Joe, Maria Diaz, Wahid Labidi, and John A. Smith, and John May. Can you give the one warm applause to the reporters? I will now like to open the floor to offer the opportunity to any delegations wishing to raise any questions or make any comments on any of the subject of these 4 issues. If you wish to speak, please raise your NSO nameplate highly. And then once your NSO name called, please clearly mention about your name and NSO name again for our record purpose. Now, the question and comments for the floors. Yeah, Taylor, can you help for me? It's difficult to read the NSO name. Yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name's Olusho Gashofola, Chief Commissioner, Scout of Nigeria. My comment is going to go to the session 1 on the duty to God. There was a lot of debate around it, but again, the question I'm going to put forward to all of us is, while we are looking at having different meanings into the word duty to God, we should not forget the philosophy that established Scouting from the founder itself. Be that as it may, we identify duty to God to be spiritualism rather than somebody saying something about religion. How do I mean? What we are saying in essence is that you have the right to believe in what you want to believe, but not to downplay the philosophy that started Scouting. My contribution. Thank you.
Now, can I ask Dr. Joao Armando to make an answer?
I don't think an answer is needed. I think our friend just reinforced one of the topics that I have mentioned before when I spoke about being one of the fundamentals. And I just reinforced the opinion that our friend also expressed in the group. So I don't think there is, and unless he wants, there is no other explanation to be given.
Okay, thank you for Joao. Any other questions or comments? Yes, please. Singapore?
Hello, I'm Tan Cheng Kiong from Singapore. I want to talk about the world issues. Now, we spent 3 years since Brazil looking at these various issues, and I want to specifically talk about the fees and the representation. Now, the report that we just got says that the recommendation from the committees was that to leave things as they are. For the fees, it was because in Brazil it was decided that everything will be frozen for 9 years. Now 3 years have passed, and in the last 3 years, we have tried to find a solution, and after 3 years, the answer is that we haven't got one. And we say that because there's a freeze, it's okay to leave it as it is. Before we know it, another 3 years would have passed, and then we will come to the end of the 9 years faster than we know it. Are we not going to continue to look for a solution? Because if we don't continue to look for a solution, it will be another 3 years before the next conference, and I don't think we will get an answer by the time another 6 years have passed. For the representation, all right, it has been looked at, and then the answer we got today is that we have looked at it mathematically from all angles, and they come up to about the same. Are we saying that after recognizing that this was a serious issue, we now think that it is no longer a serious one, and that there is no need to look at it further? Because serious issues do not go away simply because we say that we do not have an answer. So my question is, are we continuing to look at this? Because it is going to take a long time. Thank you.
I will make some comment on that, and please, if there's anybody on the table, especially Wahid, who may want to take it further. I would also want to partially qualify that perhaps some of what I'm saying is from my own personal experience. First, on the registration fees. When we go back, I believe it was in the 1990s that the current fee system was set up. I don't know if at that time it was thought to solve all problems for eternity, but certainly today we recognize that the fee system is not etched in stone. Yes, I believe I can say that it is never a closed issue and always merits review. Whether that means it would be carried, or to what extent that would be carried, I cannot answer now, but I am comfortable in saying that it is not a dead issue and that we are aware of the concerns that exist, especially in some countries where the government has imposed restrictions on charging fees, and in other countries where financially it is just not a viable matter. So I don't know if that answers your question, but I can say that it is not a dead issue. Regarding representation, I think it's a philosophical issue to a certain extent. When we look at the United Nations, every member has the same vote. In many organizations, every member has the same vote. The challenge is, do we fairly recognize that in some countries, some members, they may have a, I don't know what the wording is, a need for a greater representation? Again, I don't think it can ever be a dead issue. It always has to be reviewed. But what we are saying is at this point, where we stand today, we believe that it is satisfactory to continue on, but never closing the door. I hope that answers your questions.
Thank you, John Naismith. And any other questions? Yes, please. Sorry. Yep, Tunisia. Okay, before Tunisia, if you don't mind. Okay, carry on, Tunisia.
Thank you. Akram Zribi from Tunisia. Thank you, Chairman. My question is how the International Scouting Committee can give help and aid to many national associations in their daily struggle to preserve their independence from political, ideological influences in their home countries, and how can we help them by a common pressure from all the worldwide scouting family to preserve the independence of some associations, to respect the true values of scouts, and to guarantee some financial resources to finance their programs, especially that when the global community of scouts can bring some international investors to invest in the infrastructure of scouting in these countries and to promote some pilot projects for camping centers or something like this, and to provide some resources to the national associations. Thank you.
Okay, may I request John May to answer about this, and if from the floor anyone want make it further comment about that, is welcome. John May, please.
Thank you very much indeed for your question. I would say that we are probably not very well prepared to answer such a question this afternoon, because as a group of people here, we're dealing with the questions that were asked in sessions this morning, the areas of interest. But the reason I've suggested that I might answer is because one of the areas that we discussed in our group was the role of the World Scout Foundation and fundraising generally within World Scouting. There is already an excellent mechanism to help to support much of the program work that is going on within individual countries. And that's the grant making that may be undertaken by World Scouting's Messengers of Peace project. And if you don't yet have the opportunity to look at the wide range of programs that are available for funding, then I suggest that you spend some time with the team outside this plenary hall. The wider question that you give us in terms of defending the autonomy of individual organizations within the political status of individual countries is a question that is probably more suitable for the Secretary General of the United Nations. I'm not sure that the World Scout Committee is competent to be able to deal with such an issue. other than to voice its views when appropriate and to act in solidarity with its members when it feels that its members are not being treated fairly.
Thank you, John May. And our Oscar Farmcase deal with the many NSOs for the membership cases. He want to add a little comment about this.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So far, we assessed 28 NSOs during the last 2 years. We are putting in place the Global Support Assessment Tool, which is here to help the NSOs in several aspects, 10 dimensions, in fact. And tomorrow, there will be an exercise, a 90 minutes exercise after lunch. And I think it will answer you many of your questions. So don't miss it, please.
Thank you, Oscar. And can you raise? Yes, please. We will open this floor until the 15:40. Please.
My name is Voyagis. I'm from Greece. It's a big discussion, the issue to relate the representations to the number of the members that we have. And we have to be a bit cautious about this issue. We know very well that when the time will come and the importance of the votes that everyone has in this room will be checked, several items may arise. For instance, to what extent the members that we have are actually volunteers, and volunteerism, it's a very important aspect of scouting. And also, we have to always to bear in mind that yesterday we welcomed Monaco, and we are very glad. It's a small country. But there are other very big countries that they are coming, and we all know that if they come with the force that the figures of their population give them, we'll have another situation. So we have to be a bit prudent when we open this discussion. Thank you.
Okay, Wahid, are you prepared to answer, please?
Maybe it's not the perfect answer or the answer you are looking for. Thank you very much for raising this. I would like just to be frank on behalf of this table and on behalf of many others before we came to the World Scout Committee. The reason why we did not do concrete progress on those two controversial issues, it's clear and obvious for everyone. There is no perfect solution. The work that has been done since maybe 1 decade or maybe even before, there is a lot of attempt, a lot of discussion, a lot of studies, and you can, for anyone attending this conference would like to get more information, he can just ask the World Scout Bureau and we provide the information. There is a lot of work that has been done, a lot of solution, but unfortunately there is no consensus, no perfect solution so far. So maybe what we ask all NSOs, experts, whoever feels that he can do something and can add some valuable contribution to solve this issue, is just to come up with a concrete solution. It's really hard. There is a lot of work that to be done. So let's work on concrete solution that maybe can solve the problem. I'm not really optimistic in short term, but maybe long term we can find a solution. I'm very frank, very honest. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Wahid. Anyone of the floor, you wanna comment on this issue? If not, yet. Any other questions or comments? Yes, please. Mexico, is it? Yeah.
Yes. Hi, Omar Lugo from Mexico. My question goes for the fee system. Right now, we are about to review a new vision that includes a huge and a bold membership increase reaching 100 million. The specific question is that is the current fee system will support this strategy, or do you think that we should address the issue and establish which could be the better way to grow and reach the 100 million Scouts we want to be?
I think it's already mentioned by the John Naismith as well as Wahid. This is ongoing study cases. We are not closed down the cases. We are only adjourned, freezing for the 9 years only. But I think we should mention about this. Since you are mentioned about the registration fee, our total figure of registration fee is 4.6 million Swiss francs. And top contributor of these 12 NSOs are paying 70% of this amount. And following 24 NSOs are paying additional, following 34 NSOs paying additional 24% of that. So altogether 46 NSOs are paying for the 94% of this. And the remaining 6% shared by 117 NSOs at this moment of time. No one can conclude this. This is the fair way, but so far in a decade, we are paying on a same 4 different category paying system per person at the moment. So that's why we freeze until 9 years, and then we are looking for the better solution for this. So if we reach to the 100 million population, we should, before reaching that, we should have some kind of solutions. So what I hear from the global issues that the task force mentioned that at this moment, at this conference, we are not recommended to discuss about detail. We should study in NSO levels and try to make it better solution for future cases. Thank you. Yep. Yes. And the further Oscar want to comment on this. Oscar, please.
We are discussing a new strategy, and the vision 2023 is not being approved yet. So we cannot work on a budget if we don't know if this vision will be well accepted. We have to make some amendments, etc. So honestly, no, I don't think we have a budget or a financial plan to get to 2023. But after this conference, when we approve, make the amendments, we have the resolution, then we have to sit down and work on a triennial plan, financial plan, etc., etc. So I think after this conference, a new Scout committee will have to work on this immediately.
Thank you, Oscar. Open to the floor for the next question or comment, please. Okay. Any more questions or comments? Okay, thank you for all your contribution to these fruitful discussions. We have come to the end of this afternoon plenary session. Before we break for the coffee, I would like to ask Jim Sharp for a practical announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. During this coffee break, I would like, if the tellers, please, would come to the front. It will give us the opportunity to have a briefing regarding the World Scout Committee election procedure for tomorrow. So a delayed coffee break for the tellers, an early coffee break for everyone else.
Thank you, Jim. We will now adjourn for coffee break. Please back here by 16:15 sharp, please.
Please take a seat. S'il vous plaît, prenez vos places. OK. Bon après-midi. J'ai le plaisir de présider cette séance.
Presentation will be in English. My name is Cathal Healy. I am a member of the National Board of Scouting Ireland, but I am also a Rover Scout. I am honoured to stand here in front of you today on behalf of Scouting Ireland to introduce our bid to host the World Scout Moot in 2021. But what is a World Scout Moot? A World Scout Moot is a gathering of rovers aged between 18 and 26 from all over the world. Ireland is a nation of friendliness, built for adventure and testing your limits. We are a nation made to host the Moot. I now invite you to sit back, relax, and allow yourself to be transported on a journey around our wild island by Ciara and Adam. Following this fun video, we will see some dreams and aspirations portrayed by two of my very dear friends, Adam and Claire. Thank you.
I need to Your stare was holding, ripped jeans, skin was showing, hot night, wind was blow. Where you think you're going, baby? Hey, I just met you, and this is crazy, but here's my number, so call me maybe. And all the other boys trying to chase me, but here's my number, so call me maybe. Hold up.
Ireland is an island nation, surrounded by the wild Atlantic Ocean. We want you to continue the journey with us through our green, vibrant land. Your journey will begin with a flight to Dublin, easily accessible through hub airports across the world.
During the moot, you will experience a mild climate, varied and historic landscapes, and we welcome you to share our home. A contrast between the beautiful scenery and cosmopolitan centres, both with a population renowned the world over for accepting visitors with 100,000 welcomes, or an céad míle fáilte, as we say back home.
Scouting has a long and proud history in Ireland, spanning over 100 years. And now, as Scouting Ireland, we are bidding for our first opportunity to host the world and welcome you to our island. We hope that you will support us and can see why this wonderful land has inspired us all with such a long-lasting love of Scouting.
We currently have a membership of nearly 50,000, and we are growing every year. Our youth-led program has been used as a model for Scouting in other countries. We will use this program to inspire your journey on the moot and create a World Scout moot planned by rovers for rovers.
We may live on a small island, but it is filled to capacity with a whole host of adventures to be had. Our National Scout Centres, surrounded by acres of land, are a tremendous resource, and by using these during the moot, we will be able to assure an affordable event. The centres are well connected and are ideal bases for discovery and adventure.
We have sites based in urban environments, hills and forests. But no matter which site you're on, a journey to ancient lakes, rolling valleys, wild ocean and vibrant cities is within easy reach. This is how we will shape and facilitate the unique journey each international patrol will have as they explore this ancient isle. And we have more to offer. Along the journey, you will explore your limits, explore other cultures, and explore pathways to peace. Through participant-driven choices, the journey you experience will challenge you to explore a wild and exciting program that will encourage you to exceed your limits.
Our Rover program is built around a recognition of the different potential each individual may have. We will use this as a framework, encouraging patrols to test themselves in a variety of areas, whether social, physical, intellectual, character, emotional, or spiritual. Our program will also extend the opportunity for a gathering of young people, those who did not make it to the moot, to come from far and wide and join the international patrols for the final weekend celebration. Ireland is a land with some of the most remarkable myths and legends, whose influence still remains present today. The Irish are a people of poets and playwrights, saints and scholars, whose contributions to the world of art and literature are renowned globally.
As you travel through the country, you will also experience our unique music and sports. Any journey to Ireland naturally surrounds the visitor in these different elements. But in particular, our moot will immerse you in local communities so that you fully experience our culture firsthand.
Our island's more recent history has shown how important it is to understand and respect each other's point of view. We understand that each journey to peace is unique. On your journey, you will spend time in Irish communities carrying out interactive, inclusive projects for positive change, which will also immerse you in local life.
Through interaction with others, and by engaging with different cultures and viewpoints, you will leave Ireland having explored the possibilities that together we can create a better world.
There are few places to be wild quite like Ireland. There are few places to be a rover quite like Ireland. So join us. Make the choice to be a wild rover.
Choose Ireland for the World Scout Moot in 2021.
Well done.
Merci beaucoup à l'Irlande.
Thank
et
you,
bonne chance.
Ireland. Good luck to you. Technical pause for about 2 minutes.
Can you stop the video, please? Victor, would you please stop the video? Thank you.
Un petit moment pour changer les micros.
There's a change of microphones.
OK. Merci pour le support.
Thank you for this technical support.
J'invite maintenant la Hongrie
I
à
invite
présenter sa
now
candidature pour le
Hungary
16e
to
Moot
present
mondial en
its
2021.
candidature for the 16th World Scout Moot 2021. Hungary has the floor.
It's just a she couldn't sleep still, she never was awake, awake, awake. Love was the hardest to take. She says my friends don't answer the phone, and maybe truly sick and tired and alone. And the bus is always too late, but I know I got you, oh babe. And when you call me in the sky, you make me forget all this high. And even though you're not near, I know I got you, oh dear. I love your ears, your nose, your teeth, the way you wear your t-shirt, you chose for me, the way you think about the things I do, and the fact that you love me too. We can hide it for long. Not to you, I belong. We can hide till it's clear that I got you, got you, got you, got me. You. She left all her clothes out in the rain, in the rain, in the rain. She left all her clothes out in the rain. She no longer cared, but she's still safe. Yes, she's safe. Yes, she's safe. No longer cared, but she's safe. She couldn't sleep still. She never was awake, awake, awake. She couldn't sleep still. She never was awake. Love was the hardest pill to take, pill to take, pill to take.
Invite all of you and your scouts at home to our beautiful country, Hungary, where you can truly experience the famous Hungarian hospitality. Enjoy the lights of the capital city, Budapest. Take off on your adventures through the country, and finally lie on the sunny beach of Lake Balaton, the biggest lake in Central Europe.
We are eager to receive the opportunity to organize an event that will be a once-in-a-lifetime experience for everyone who participates. The objectives of our proposed program are simply represented in the 3 words of our slogan, which we hope you all know by now. Let's hear it.
Be an active participant in the program, not a passive observer.
Choose programs which suit your interests and skills best.
Adventure!
We all know scouting is an adventure, but an adventure with a purpose. Let's go seek our adventures after the age of 18 as well.
We offer you a 4-day-long adventure path and a beautiful lakeside campsite with nice climate, sunshine, and silky beach.
We offer easy accessibility and an affordable camp fee, as well as a wide range of possibilities of staying in Hungary for home hospitality or visiting neighboring countries.
All this is provided by a young, dynamic, enthusiastic, and fast-growing Scout Association.
Through the past year, many of you have received little stones as gifts from us. We truly hope you will have those stones to find their way back to Hungary by the time of the World Scout Moot.
And now, we have some special guests for you today. 3 of our Scout brothers traveled here from the future, and they just arrived from the World Scout Moot.
Hey guys, welcome to 2014. Did you bring your stones back to Hungary? Could you show them to us?
We can't wait to hear about the adventures you had. So let's see the story of the mood.
Every day's made of stone. Tonight my world is dream slip into sun. City lights I can see beckon to me. I'm not wasting my time. No, from far away they promise me fame. Follow them right on through. Oh, I'm on the run tonight and every day. I want everything, 'cause I want everything. Oh, I'm on the run, I'm not afraid to say I want everything, 'cause I want everything. Wave your hands on the key and coming back this way, 'cause the lights are gonna shine on me. And I will learn to say headed somewhere. Moving on now. Oh, I'm on the run tonight and every day. I want everything, 'cause I want everything. Oh, I'm on the run, I'm not afraid to say. I want everything, 'cause I want everything. All I wanna know everything. Got a rich inside your soul. All I wanna know everything. Gotta face what you are shown. All I wanna know everything. Find the place where you belong. All I wanna know everything. Find the place where you belong.
Merci beaucoup à la Hongrie.
Thank you very much, Hungary, and good luck. And now, I wish you would applaud the two candidates, Hungary and Ireland, and note that the vote will take place tomorrow morning during the plenary session at 9 o'clock. Thank you. Now we shall proceed to the election of the World Scout Committee, and I would like to ask Jim Sharp to explain the voting procedure. You have the floor.
As I mentioned on Monday, in the voting kit, you should have a ballot paper for the elections to the World Scout Committee. There are 16 names printed on the list because that was the original list of candidates. However, as we learned yesterday, one candidate, Mr. Wassim El-Zine from Lebanon, has withdrawn his candidature. Please do not, therefore, vote for him. If you do, your vote will be wasted. I remind you that we are electing 12 candidates to serve for a 3-year term. Your organization, therefore, has a total of 72 votes to cast in this election. And it's essential, according to the rules of procedure, that you cast all 72 votes. You may give each candidate up to 6 votes, no more, but possibly less. But it's absolutely essential that your organization casts all 72 votes, or the paper will be considered when it's scanned by the machine as void. We will be counting the votes for each candidate electronically using a scanning process, and the machine has been installed at the front of the hall. To enable the scanning machine to read the completed ballot paper properly, it's important that you follow the instructions printed on the form carefully. Especially, this means shading in completely the circle corresponding to the number of votes your delegation decides to give to each candidate. So, for example, if you want to give a candidate 4 votes, you shade in the circle beside that candidate's name corresponding to 4 votes. The machine, when your ballot form is scanned, will verify that you have cast all 72 votes for your organization. If the machine cannot read your ballot paper, or if the total number of votes cast is less than or more than 72, your ballot paper will be considered to be spoiled and therefore invalid. And please do not fold your ballot paper. While you're completing your ballot paper, if you make a mistake and want to start with a new paper, attract the attention of one of the tellers, and we will provide you with a replacement ballot paper after we have destroyed the original one. The tellers will do that. Does anyone have any questions? Perhaps we could have the lights up in the hall, and then I can see if there are any questions that anybody wants to ask for clarification. I see no indication, so we'll give you a few minutes. Most of you, I suspect, may have already completed your forms, but just in the light of the information I've given, we'll give you a few moments to complete that exercise if you're still underway. And in a few moments' time, I will then read out the list of countries present with voting rights. It's a roll call. And invite one delegate, only one delegate from each country that I name, to come forward. And please come down an aisle to my right, on the left-hand side of the hall as you see it. But if you come down this aisle here, then you will be guided one at a time to the table where the machine is, so that your ballot paper can be scanned, and then you can proceed back to your seat using an aisle to my left or to your right. May I ask the tellers, please, to come to the front. I have one last, I see some cards being raised. Is this a question for clarification? Or someone needs another ballot paper? Ray,
Okay.
I have requests for replacement ballot papers.
He will hand.
If you need a replacement ballot paper, hold up your card and a teller will bring it to you. I see five cards being held up, 6 at the back, so we need tellers to go and issue replacement cards, please. Or do we have a question?
Yeah. If you want to cast 6 votes, will you fill in all the 6 dots?
No,
only
you do
number
not.
6?
You do not insert, or you do not shade in all 6 dots if you're voting 6 votes for candidate number 1 or 3. Only the circle with the correct number in it.
Then I need a new one.
If you're casting 6 votes for a candidate, you only shade in the circle with the number 6 in it. Now we need all the tellers to go and replace the ballot papers. Go now and replace the ballot papers of those who need them.
I'll get it back.
I understand that there's a question being asked whether it's okay to shade this in with a pencil rather than a pen. It would be preferable to do it in a pen because the mark is likely to be stronger than it would be with a pencil. The technician has also told me blue ink or black ink is okay, certainly not red ink. Has every organization now had time to complete its voting form? I see another card being waved. Does that mean you're still working on it? Has every organization had enough time to complete its ballot paper? Okay, I'm about to start calling the roll call. 2 additional pieces of information. I need a teller's attention over here. I've got do we have a sign up over here? He's not finished, okay. Before I start the roll call, one additional rule. As I said already, one delegate brings your voting form forward. If a country is holding a proxy for another country, it would be helpful if a second delegate would bring forward the proxy's vote. It will just avoid confusion if because if we don't do that, someone may appear with two ballot forms in their hands, and that is going to just create questions how that can be possible. If you're holding a proxy, send up two delegates, one with each form. If there's only one delegate in the country holding a proxy, you may have to come up twice. And the last rule, no cameras, please. Don't send somebody up to take a picture of your friend voting. We want to keep as many cameras away from that machine as possible. So please, no cameras crowding up near the front while the voting is going on. That includes the chairman of the World Committee. I have asked him that earlier. I see Mr. Wong. Correct. I'm now going to start the roll call. Algeria. Angola. Argentina. Armenia. Australia. Austria. Azerbaijan. Bahamas. Bahrain. Bangladesh. Barbados. Belarus. Belgium. Belize. Benin. Bolivia. Bosnia and Herzegovina. Botswana. Brazil. Brunei Darussalam. Bulgaria, Burundi, Cambodia, Cameroon, Canada, Chad, Chile, Scouts of China, Colombia, Costa Rica, Côte d'Ivoire, Croatia, Cyprus, Czech Republic, Denmark, Ecuador, Egypt, Estonia, Ethiopia, Fiji, Finland, France, Georgia, Germany, Ghana, Greece, Grenada, Guatemala, Guyana, Haiti, Hong Kong, Hungary, Iceland, India, Indonesia, Ireland, Israel, Italy, Jamaica, Japan, Kazakhstan, Kenya, Republic of Korea, Kuwait, Latvia, Lebanon, Lesotho, Liberia, Libyan Arab Jamahiriya, Libya, I should say. Liechtenstein, Lithuania, Luxembourg, the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia, Madagascar, Malaysia, Maldives, Malta, Mexico, Republic of Moldova, Monaco, Mongolia, Montenegro, Mozambique, Namibia, Nepal, Netherlands, New Zealand, Nicaragua, Nigeria, Norway, Oman, Pakistan, Panama, Papua New Guinea, Paraguay, Peru, Philippines, Poland, Portugal, Qatar, Romania, Russian Federation, Rwanda, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Saudi Arabia, Senegal, Republic of Serbia, Sierra Leone, Singapore, Slovakia, Slovenia, South Africa, Spain, Sri Lanka, Sudan, Suriname, Swaziland, Sweden, Switzerland, Tajikistan, the United Republic of Tanzania, Thailand, Togo, Trinidad and Tobago, Turkey, Uganda, Ukraine, United Arab Emirates, United Kingdom, United States, Uruguay, Zimbabwe, Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The roll call is complete, and I believe the voting is now complete as well.
Merci beaucoup, Jim. Merci beaucoup à tout le monde pour avoir conclu cet exercice d'élection.
Thank you to everybody for concluding this election procedure, and I suggest that we have a 15-minute break, and then we're going to announce the results. Thank you very much. 15 minutes break.